Ladies, when did you realize that the bar was low for men?
I realized I was amazed by him not requiring me to be hairless at all times, like my exes had.
Men straight up commit crimes or threaten and harass women, and people are like, oh, we don't want to ruin his I dunno. If a guy is running around threatening to women, maybe he deserves to get arrested? Just a thought.
After realizing how many men think that arrested development, learned helplessness, and weaponized incompetence are cute men endearingly calling themselves idiots whenever they make blunders in relationships, blunders that probably wouldn't happen if they exercised the slightest bit of forethought, empathy, feel like the bar's gotta be pretty low if we're holding men to the same standard as literal children. Or more accurately, they're holding themselves to that standard and we're expected to follow suit.
When I thought about my standards that are pretty basic, and I still could barely find anyone I was interested in because most men can't even live up to the most basic requirements. Having a sense of style beyond jeans and a hoodie? Having a goal for their career, future? Working out in some form? Not acting like an 18-year-old frat boy? Being emotionally competent? Not being unreachable for hours on end? Etc.
My husband brought me up a cup of coffee whilst I was WFH and on a Zoom call. People on the call were literally like, "Whoa girl, you got him whipped." And, "Where do I get service like this?" A few weeks later, a colleague told me she told her boyfriend about this and he told her there was no chance any guy would do. Mean it's just a nice thing he does every day when he makes his own coffee, and it's something that I appreciate, but he's not saving the world, is he?
At the beginning of the relationship with my partner, he would initiate things like cooking dinner and cleaning up afterwards. I profusely thanked him for being so thoughtful, and he was shocked that it was such a big deal to me when in his eyes, he was just doing things that needed to be done. That's when I realized what a low bar I had been holding for me too.
I was told this when I tried to report the man who me. Oh, but he had a tough upbringing. This would really ruin his life. You wouldn't want that, would you? Yes, I would. What about my life? My life got ruined. I had to drop out of school, I lost all my friends, I had to be hospitalized. Why should I care about him? Why was I punished instead of him?
When I hear the countless tales from women who put up with so much messed up stuff that a man does, and these women are like, "But I love."
When I thought someone just being kind to me and actually wanting to spend time together was the greatest thing in the world.
I always knew things where it is really pronounced when my husband and I became parents. And we both noticed, if he takes my kiddo anywhere, people will come up and shower him, and I take my kiddo anywhere, I get more advice, criticism, or side glances than compliments. If I'm noticed that we praise the bare minimum for men, but then criticize women unless they are absolutely perfect, and even
our career, they have to consider everything he's done to contribute to the organization when determining to kick him out or not.
I was on a second date with a guy and I let him know I won't be sleeping with him and that I want something serious. He still told me he'd be walking me home. When we got to my place I let him in. Silly, I know, but I trusted him. And as he was leaving my apartment, he saw I had this thingy that needed installing. He immediately said he can take care of it for me if I wanted to, and I remember just being on shock and couldn't speak. I wasn't ready for a guy to be nice without the promise of. I said, no, it's fine, and he asked me how long has it been waiting to be installed, and I said 2 to 3 months, and he said, really, it's not a problem, I can take care of it for you, it'll take me I was flabbergasted that he kept being so nice and respectful.
When all it takes for people to consider a dad good to is to be present or change a few diapers.
When he willingly went down on me and enjoyed it, and cared about how I was feeling, thought he was the best lover ever, but it should be the bare minimum.
A friend of mine was sexually assaulted at a professional conference. His attorney made that same argument. Her response on the stand was, he took something from me and I am going to take something from him. Maybe that will stop. He only got time served, but he lost his professional license and is uninsurable. I am sorry that happened to you.
When a colleague of mine that had been reported and disciplined for bullying and boss, also male, commented on the situation as follows: I feel sorry for him because it can't be fun for him that the women here don't want to work with him.
When I was 12 and complained that my brother, 18 most older, always did a job on his chores but mine had to be perfect. My mom made me redo his,
even the harder things like mowing and trimming the lawn.
My tall brother carries his toddler, who takes after him, more than his wife does, and my aunt believes that makes her a lazy mom. My cousin was shocked to learn he changes his child's diapers.
I'm 37 and started dating my husband at 29. I remember a couple of months in telling him, "Wow, you're the only guy I've dated who was nice to me." He wasn't necessarily doing anything above and beyond, but just by not acting like he didn't give a about me was huge. I think that's when he realized how low the bar was.
Probably in my late teens. By my early 20s, since I lived in a conservative area and did not feel comfortable outing myself to most people, I had come up with a way to avoid being set up on dates. I had a set of rules: no smokers, I have asthma, no alcoholics, no drug addicts, no prison time, must be either pursuing education or have a job, and have access to a car regularly, rural town, no public transit, and I got real fucking tired of being a chauffeur. Every time someone wanted to set me up with a guy, they failed those requirements. They are not excessively stringent requirements.
When I see dressed up women accompanied by slovenly looking men. When a male friend tries to sell me on guys I find unattractive.
Oof, this is true. I intentionally set some of my dating profiles to other areas because of this. Geographically, the options are terrible. Finding a man with a job, some level of education, no major vices, no criminal record is actually quite difficult depending on where you live.
A guy the first was FWB with for a few months, sod, beat me up, locked me in his apartment and took all my things and as well broke my glasses. Which without I can't see, after I wanted to go home and after a few hours let me go. And my ex-BFF of 13 years told me, well, at least he got you a Uber home after, and that her BFs never paid her taxi to home upside down face.
Totally. You see the same level of amazement with regard to guys who care for and parent their own kids. My partner takes our daughter to the park and he's the best dad in the world. I take her and it's just what I'm supposed to do. He also hates this low standard set for dads. Also, I've had people say I take advantage of him when we first started dating because he would bring me stuff when I was more than capable. I get pretty bad social anxiety, especially when I was younger, and at parties he would get me beer or pizza or whatever while I sat on the couch. Or his older sister said I should be fixing his plate, not him fixing mine. I say this about my partner. People always are like he's such a good man blah blah, and he is, but not for the reason they say. The reasons they list are just basic human decency. He's a great partner for other reason, not because he respects me like he should. That's the bare minimum humans should do. Respect each other.
Hearing so many of my straight friends hyping up the most basic things that I've done for them as a friend that they hype up for their, he brought me a glass of water when I said I was, he asked me if I was okay after I had a bad day at, he puts his phone down when we're having a.
This, my first partner who would jump into the kitchen and do things like cooking and cleaning without me having to ask for help was mine. I've raised my bar.
When I found out straight men were getting ill because they were not washing their ass because they thought that was gay, but then also heard people, both men and women, describe women's body hair as unhygienic and nasty.
That is so sad for your colleague. I'm glad your hubby does that for you. Very sweet.
My boyfriend does this, and it's so nice. Realized most men I had dated needed to be asked to do things. It is nice when they notice, and just do.
What's the saying? Parents raise their daughters and love their sons?
This is so odd for me as a dad. Our family outings are cute and people seem to enjoy us being around. My outings with the kids are great, with people complimenting me and even offering extra help with a lot of different wife says her going out with the boys is way different than what I believe. It's just hard to wrap my head around.